welcome to So Many Books. I'm your host, Toni Andrews, and tonight's guest is Jennie Nash. Hi, Jennie.
Hi.
And we're going to talk about her new book, The Only True Genius in the Family. Welcome to So Many Books.
Thank
I'm glad
you.
you could be here.
It's nice to be here.
You're the last guest I had, or 2 guests ago, I interviewed somebody about a memoir, and we talked a little bit about memoir writing, and I see that your background is actually in memoir writing.
That's true.
So this was a huge switch for you.
Oh, it was. I, in fact, had published 3 memoirs prior to turning to fiction. So for many, many years, I wrote from my own life and wrote nonfiction and did quite well doing that. The best-selling of all my memoirs was a breast cancer memoir. Mm-hmm. And I sort of had a revelation, actually, during the publicity for that book. It was quite interesting. I did a lot of breast cancer events and presentations, which was very moving to be a part of. And one in particular, I was in Anchorage, Alaska, and they have event where everybody in the state comes together into one giant ballroom. There were like 1,000 people, and it's a big fundraiser, and I was the keynote speaker. And the person who had been in that position the prior year was Dr. Susan Love, who is the guru of breast cancer surgeons.
Yes.
I mean, she's actually finding a cure. She's out there really doing this extraordinary work. And I was sitting there at the luncheon getting ready to speak, and I thought, what do I have to say that Susan Love hasn't already said?
You thought, I've got to follow this person on stage. Oh, great.
And you know, what could I add to what she's already doing? And I wasn't nervous. I felt totally inadequate that all I had done was written this book. But as I walked up on stage, that was the thought that really came over me was, I'm a storyteller. That's what I have. That's all I have right now in this moment. And I had the sort of experience, which I know everybody's had to one degree or another, where you just have the audience in the palm of your hand. And it was just this amazing connection. And I felt so, it was like the light shone on me. And I thought, well, that's it. I'm a storyteller.
I'm going to tell some stories.
Yeah, and I came back from that experience feeling very inspired by my own voice, really, my own voice telling me that was enough. It's enough to just tell a story. And that's when I started in on fiction.
But you've been writing for a long time.
I've been writing forever. I have been writing forever since I was in college, actually, and have been a freelance writer for more than 23 years now. So a lot of different kinds of writing.
I was interesting talking about, now I think not this book, but the previous book. Was there a breast cancer theme in that previous book?
There was. My first novel, which was my 4th book, is called The Last Beach Bungalow. And
got very good reviews.
It did,
I was
thank
looking
you.
at the reviews.
It did, thank you. It's about a woman who falls in love with a house, basically. And I fought the breast cancer for 3 years. I was working on this book. I knew I had a great story about, I live in Los Angeles, and times were very different than they are now. The real estate market was very hot, and houses were being sold in crazy ways. It was a frenzy.
Yes, I used to live in Southern California.
So you know,
so, yes.
And the bidding
wars.
Oh,
and I moved from Southern California to Miami.
Oh gosh.
So I moved from real estate, madness to real estate, complete insanity.
And you know all these stories where you have to bake cookies and do all this stuff to get the house.
I was involved in selling a house in Southern California, and then in Miami, my apartment went condo while I was living there.
Oh, geez.
And I had to make a decision on whether or not I wanted to spend $500,000 on a 900 square foot ghetto view apartment that I knew how poorly built it was because I lived there. No, and I'm glad I didn't, because I understand that whole building is sitting empty.
This was the climate in LA, and there were some great stories surrounding people trying to get houses. In particular, there was a contest that a homeowner had held to, he wanted the best story for his house, and it was running in the newspapers how this was progressing and how many entries he had and who he was going to pick. And it turned out in the end to be bogus. It was a fraud, and he was scamming the money. And I was so disappointed. I wanted it so much.
Well, write the story the way you wanted it to be. So you did. Did you set it in a real town?
I did, absolutely.
Where'd you set it?
It's in Redondo Beach.
In Redondo Beach, sure.
Which is on the Santa Monica Bay, south of LAX, for people who've flown in there.
Yeah.
And like I said, this was the seed of my story, and for years I resisted the cancer piece.
And there are these bungalows there. There are and I lived in Balboa.
Oh,
in
gosh,
Newport Beach on the old Balboa Peninsula. In fact, my series is set there.
Oh, okay, great, a great location.
And I said that the millionaires live next door to the welfare recipients because there's these multi-million-dollar homes and these little shacks that are being shared by, with one bathroom being shared by 9 college students.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, then I did a lot of research on the bungalows, the famous bungalows in Pasadena, but mine was definitely down on the beach in Redondo Beach, and I had wanted to capture this yearning of people to have a home, this sense that home can actually solve something, make you whole, give you what you need, this whole idea. And I needed a reason for my character to need this house. And I went through everything in the book.
And finally it was like, write what you know.
Yeah.
And it touches people. But you actually, let's get back to writing memoirs. You actually teach, or did teach. Are you teaching now, memoir writing?
I do. I teach in the UCLA Extension Writers Program, which is a very renowned program, particularly for screenplay writing in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And I teach a course in writing memoir. And I should write a book about teaching memoir, because the craziest people come through the door in Los Angeles.
Well, sure.
With these stories that each one, we go around the table, and each story you can't believe. It's like, I cannot believe that this person walked in this classroom with this story. Just running the gamut from I lost $20 million to I'm Regis Philbin's sister, or I was, my mother was Elvis's valet. I mean, just every story in the book, and plus very weird as well. Very strange things. And
well, now this, see, you're meeting the people that everyone's always trying to introduce me to. Because I want to talk to you a little bit about getting ideas and about inspiration. And I write fiction, and because I write fiction and I'm very involved in writing organization in the community, I know a lot of people who write fiction. And we joke that our least favorite question is, where do you get your ideas? Because people think that we are struggling to have ideas. And everybody always, you have to meet my Uncle Marvin, because if you just write down his story, it will be a #1 New York Times bestseller. And I always tell them, then you should take a course and write his story.
Yeah.
Or get him to write his story. I have plenty of ideas. But you apparently have a classroom full of people, full of Uncle Marvins, apparently.
Absolutely. But what's fascinating about it is most of them, when you ask them why they're there, most